We, of course, stay with the theme. And the other big player in that space joins us now, Ravi Uppal, Managing Director and CEO of JSPL. Good morning, Mr. Uppal. Well, you must have now got the exact figure in terms of what might be the hit, what's the penalty you may have to pay because of the coal that you have mined. And, okay, I'll come to the coal auction in a bit. What's the penalty?
Well, you know that the Supreme Court has asked that the penalty should be paid at a rate of 295 rupees. We basically feel that the penalty being asked to us is unfair, because this is taken from the CAG report, and CAG report was based on the Coal India statistics and the kind of coal they produce, which is basically A and B grade, and therefore 295 was with reference to the coal which is a premium grade, whereas the coal that we have produced all along from these mines is of E and F grade, and therefore we don't believe that amount is applicable. We certainly are going to make a review petition on that.
So what would the total amount be? Would it be 3,000 crores?
Well, that we are still in the process of estimating. We are collecting, the amount of the total coal that we produce since we started mining operation.
So you'll file a review
quite soon.
You'll file a review with the Supreme Court.
We would file a review.
What would be the additional cash outflow for the reallocation of the existing operational coal blocks when it happens?
Well, there's no additional cash outflow. The only thing is, for the next 6 months, we are going to get, the supply of coal from the existing mines. In the meantime, we are hoping that the government, in accordance with Supreme Court directives, they will work out a way to ensure that we have continued supply of coal even post 31st of March.
Okay.
It could either be that they will go and auction the mines, or alternatively they might hand over the ownership of these mines to Coal India, and Coal India in turn will have to have a kind of a supply agreement with the users.
No, the judgment clearly said that Coal India will manage if an auction doesn't happen by April 1st. So it is an interregnum manager. Have you any clarity on what is your link to that coal if on April 1st the auction doesn't happen? Do you still get that coal for yourself, or would you have to reapply for an FSA? What is your coal supply on April 1st?
I think the government is very aware the kind of paralyzing effect it is going to have if the coal is not assured for the operating units by 31st of March. And I'm of the belief that government is going to act very soon on this.
Okay.
They already seem to be working on it, and I have no reason to believe that this thing will remain an open issue after March 31st.
Oh, so you mean the auction will happen before?
I'm also hoping that...
You believe auction will happen before March 31st?
I'm also hoping that... sorry, I didn't catch you.
You believe auction will happen before March 31st?
Yes, indeed, and we strongly advocate that the government goes for the auction. That for us is a preferred option.
Okay, and in that auction, Mr. Uppal, it's but natural that a lot of upcoming power companies with coal requirements will want a mine that is well prospected and up and running. Don't you? What kind of competition you expect? There are some people who speak about a premium of at least 1,000 to 1,500 rupees per ton for that coal. Would you agree with that figure?
Well, that is a matter of speculation if there is a premium. I think we are aware that we have to make a competitive bid. We are already working on these mines. Our units are located at the pit head. So we think we should be able to put a competitive bid as and when the bidding starts.
How do you plan to service this entire payment, Mr. Uppal? Because we have seen how stressed the balance sheet is. How much do you think the debt could go up by because of this whole issue?
Well, Jim, that if you look at the balance sheet of the company after we declared the first quarter results, you will see that we have not grown debt anymore. As a matter of fact, we had embarked on a massive expansion program in the last 3 years, which came to conclusion on 31st of March 2014. And in any case, this year we were not contemplating any more development and expenditure. And we are in the process of consolidating and trying to basically sweat the assets that we have built. So for the current year, we were not planning any kind of a capital expenditure. And now, given the new situation has emerged, we are trying to look at the whole thing all over again. And any expenditure that we were even thinking, we're trying to set our priorities again. and only the most critical items will be undertaken for the time being.
No,
How much coal have you mined, sir?
Sorry?
How much coal have you mined so far from that mine?
You know that I can't give you because we were working on two mines. One was dedicated to steel and the other one was for the power plant. We are trying to put the numbers together from the time we started mining. Initially, the volumes were small, and actually over a period of time, the volumes were built up. At the moment, we are mining about 12 million tons a year.
Okay. Just coming back to the balance sheet issue, Mr. Uppal, I understand that you'll work out the best method possible, but there's still a retrospective penalty of almost 3,000 crores that you will have to make. So do we believe that the debt of the company will go up to about 40,000 crores or more by the end of next year? And you will have to make interest costs payments of about 1,500 crores per annum? Is that, or perhaps you may have to, look higher than these levels because of the debt that you'll have to undertake?
Well, there are two things we have to consider. Number one, we're going to make the review petition. And number two, we are also going to say that, there should be a staggering of payments. And any amount that is there, I don't think it's fair to ask the company should settle this amount in a period of next 3 months. And we must be allowed more time. That's number one. Number two, if you look at our balance sheet at the end of first quarter, the total debt was about 35,000 crores. And this year, we were expecting better earnings. So the first quarter results were quite good, especially if you look at, the total profit and cash. That was a good amount, and we actually were using this amount to service, our debts and also pay back a part of the debt. So we are very focused on, managing our debt, and I don't think we are going to allow debt to increase. If there's any amount which we have to pay in form of penalty, I think that is something we will be able to manage.
Okay. How much, what kind of PPAs do you have for your power? Will you be able to pass through this coal penalty, whatever that is, as well as the higher coal price?
Well, you know that in the last 2 years, there were not many PPA inquiries. And whichever came, we were successful on that. But now the more and more inquiries have started surfacing, and I hope that in the next 6 to 12 months' time, we should be able to, get more PPA contracts in our favor.
What is your percentage of PPA?
Well, that the last 1,000 megawatt, most of it was on the merchant sales or short and medium PPAs. As far as long PPA is concerned, our new capacity of 2,400 megawatt, we already have a PPA for 600 megawatt. And then in addition to that, we have put in bids for the new PPAs, whose results should be known in the next 3 to 6 months.
No, my point is, sir, for this 600 megawatt and the other short and medium term PPA, will you be able to pass on the higher coal price?
Well, it remains to be seen what the new price is going to be. That whether if you get from linkage, you have one price. If you're allowed to continue the block that we are already mining, then you have another kind of price. So therefore, it's very difficult for me to give you one number saying how much more impact will it create in terms of the cost increase.
Sure. But you can pass it on, even if that increase is, say, 5 rupees, or, even if it is 5 pice per unit. Does the clause, do your covenants allow you to pass it on?
Yeah, well, no. If you look at the PPA, the PPA which have been signed so far, they're basically firm price.
Okay.
If the PPA which is there for 50 to 25 years, they have a built-in inflation factor which is between 3 to 5%.
Okay.
So you can increase these rates only to the extent it is given in the contract.
Okay. What about the land, Mr. Uppal? The Supreme Court has cancelled the mining rights, but have they given any indication of what happens to the lands? Does it still belong to the company?
Well, it is too early to say these things. I think these things have not been looked into, but obviously the mines that we are operating, the land belongs to us. It remains to be seen on what terms the government wants us to operate in future. And as I said, there are two options. One is they go for auction, and the second is they ask us to hand over the mines after 31st of March to another governmental agency. So in each of the two cases, the terms of reference will be different. So I can't tell you for now what we shall do with the land. That is something we'll decide once the decision is made.
What about sourcing coal internationally? I mean, you do have mines in Mozambique and Australia. Will you source from there? And if yes, what could the quantum be?
Well, we are already sourcing the coal. Part of our coal supplies we're getting from Mozambique and Australia and also from Indonesia. This volume was being gradually built up. As you know, that we had commissioned our 600 megawatt units, for which our FSA had not become operational. During this intervening period, we were getting the coal from these, our own mines in these three countries, and we were able to meet up the requirements. And now we have the FSA in place, and the PPAs are being signed. I'm hoping that we will be able to get more and more of our coal requirements out of the FSAs.
Okay, so it's FSAs rather than international sourcing that you look to.
No, it's a combination of these two. I don't think that FSA alone. If you know the terms of supply, even under FSA, government is supplying to you only to the extent of between 65 to 70% of your annual estimated quantity, what they call as ACQ.
Okay.
So in any case, you have a gap left between them.
How much more?
And we were trying to bridge this gap.
Okay. How much more expensive is the internationally sourced coal? Is it 50% more?
Well, it depends whether you're talking about nominal value or you're talking about the value per kilocalorie. If you look at the per kilocalorie, I would say the international coal would be roughly about 20% more expensive.
Okay, so this
landed cost.
The landed cost, yes. So this would in effect have an impact on your EBITDA as well as we head into next year. In FY14, you did about 5,700 crores of EBITDA. What kind of a hit do you think you will have to take in FY15? Any ballpark estimates?
No, we haven't made any estimate. It depends as to what kind of sourcing of coal we get in future. If we continue to get the coal under linkage scheme, then of course the impact will be minimal. Or we are able to continue mining from our own block. In that case as well, the coal will not be much.
But if that doesn't happen, Mr. Uppal, what could the damage be? Because some analysts are looking at about a 15 to 20% hit on the EBITDA. Do you think if things don't pan out as you expect, we could see that kind of a cut?
Look, that right now most of our coal supplies we're getting from India. I know it's only the maker quantities, that we were importing. Now, if we have to go for bulk imports, then obviously we're going to sign a long-term agreement under which the rates at which you can source coal will be definitely more economical compared to what we are doing at the moment.
Yes.
So therefore, it's very difficult for me to tell you what's going to be the impact. Yes, there will be some impact on EBITDA, because the imported coal is going to work out somewhat more expensive. But I can't put on table a number as of this moment. Okay,
a final question, Mr. Uppal. Would you expect now that all coal mines will be auctioned out? You're generally for FY16 and 17 looking at a higher raw material price. If yes, by how much?
Well, the raw material price, if we have to go for import, of course, will be higher compared to what it could be if we are sourcing the material from domestic market. But, I am personally of the belief that in the next 6 months' time, government is going to come out with the auction of mines, not only those which are cancelled, but even beyond those.
Okay.
And we will certainly participate in those. We are pinning our hopes that we will be able to participate in these auctions, and we will be able to secure the amount of coal that we need for our operation from the domestic mines.
Fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Mr. Uppal, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and thank you for clarifying a whole lot of misgivings, perhaps, that investors had. Well, misgivings on the market also appear to have receded a bit. We started off with a third of a percent lower. We are a third of a percent higher as far as the markets are concerned.
And mid-caps too are up about close to half odd percent. So not a bad start to the October series at all.
Not today, for sure. And it looked like things would be very bleak, but